When we think of Iran's historical landscape, the mind usually goes straight to Persian empires and Islamic architecture. But hidden within its borders are some of the earliest Christian foundations on Earth. For centuries, this region operated as a massive trade corridor, linking the Caucasus to the Persian Gulf. That constant flow of merchants and ideas necessitated a level of religious and cultural cohabitation rarely seen in the ancient world. For travelers and historians today, exploring this heritage requires navigating a scattered, rugged geography. You are essentially forced into a calculation of limited time versus extreme distance. The dilemma is sharp. Do you endure the friction required to reach first-century sites at the borders, or do you prioritize the highly accessible 17th-century cathedrals in the urban centers? Choosing incorrectly means either losing days to a grueling transit or missing out on first-century apostolic history for the sake of an easier itinerary. The evaluation rests on 4 major historic sites that represent the full spectrum of this architectural and historical trade-off. Looking at a map of Iran, you can see the sheer geographical spread. Points mark the northern borderlands of West and East Azerbaijan, with a single, isolated outlier in central Isfahan. The northern cluster consists of 3 border fortresses, while the central site serves as an urban hub, integrated into a modern city. To judge these sites, we have to weigh 3 specific metrics: historical age, architectural features, and the logistical effort required to reach them. In this region, geography is destiny. Where a site was built determined its architectural style, and more importantly, how difficult it is to visit today. We start in the remote mountains of West Azerbaijan at Saint Thaddeus Cathedral, known locally as Qara Kelisa, or the Black Church. The complex is a fortified island, surrounded by arid hills and protected by a massive stone perimeter wall. Its historical weight is unrivaled. This site was built over the tomb of Saint Thaddeus the Apostle, tracing its origins back to the 1st century AD and establishing it as a foundation of the early faith. Because it has survived 2 millennia of earthquakes and reconstructions, the cathedral exhibits a unique architectural dualism. You can see the literal dividing line in the masonry, the 14th century volcanic blackstone on the left, clashing with the white limestone extension added by the Qajar dynasty in the 19th century. The exterior walls are covered in elaborate stone reliefs, acting as a permanent record of Armenian-Iranian historical narratives. These carvings immortalize specific religious and mythological figures, like this angel holding the scales of judgment. While Saint Thaddeus provides unparalleled access to first-century roots, the logistical friction required to reach it makes it unviable for anyone on a tight schedule. Moving eastward into the Julfa region, we find the St. Stephanos Monastery. Here, 9th century architecture was forced to adapt to a hostile, rugged canyon environment. The fortified outer walls were designed to blend almost invisibly into the dramatic, rocky topography of the canyon. Further into Maku, the Chapel of Jordzor represents a different kind of survival. This 14th century site was actually dismantled and relocated to save it from being submerged by a modern reservoir project. Today, its small, isolated form stands alone, overlooking the bright blue water that would have otherwise claimed it. These 2 sites lack the massive scale of a metropolitan cathedral, but they demonstrate how medieval engineering could be integrated directly into defensive geological constraints. To find the urban alternative, we move south to the Julfa district of Isfahan to visit Vank Cathedral. This setting is the complete opposite of the northern borderlands. It is a commercialized, easily accessible city center. The cathedral is entirely enveloped by modern city infrastructure and traffic, making it the most accessible site on our list. Its primary draw is a 17th century Safavid fusion of Persian tilework and Christian aesthetics. You see this fusion in the ornate brickwork and the Persian-style central dome, which stands right beside a standard Christian bell tower. Vank offers effortless travel and a unique aesthetic, but it entirely sacrifices the first-century grit of the original northern foundations. To finalize the choice, we can map these sites against our original dilemma. This matrix shows the strict inverse relationship between a site's age and how easy it is to reach. The vertical axis tracks historical age, and the horizontal axis tracks logistical effort. Vank Cathedral sits in the bottom left. It requires the least effort to visit, but is the most modern. Saint Thaddeus occupies the top right, representing maximum age with highest travel friction. Stepanos and Zorzor land in the middle ground, offering medieval history with a moderate travel commitment. The data shows that in Iran's landscape, convenience and first-century antiquity are mutually exclusive. For the time-poor traveler who needs a low-friction itinerary, the choice is clear. Go to Saint Cathedral. You will see a unique cultural fusion without losing days to travel. If you are an architectural optimizer looking for structural innovation, head north. Pair St. Stepanos and Zorzor to see exactly how these brilliant medieval builders utilized extreme, hostile geology for their own defense. But for the history purist, there is only one acceptable destination. You must go to St. Thaddeus. It is the only way to witness the first-century apostolic roots of the region. Ultimately, you have to align your journey with your historical appetite, accepting that the deepest roots always require the hardest journey. To understand why a massive cathedral exists in this specific remote valley, we have to follow a trail of ancient global wealth. At the southern tip of the empire, the Strait of Hormuz served as the primary maritime gateway for oceanic spice routes. For centuries, these international trade revenues stabilized the treasuries of Iranian monarchs. This economic stability allowed the central government to project power, funding major religious monuments to secure the northern borderlands. The result of that investment stands alone. Qara Kelisa is an isolated landmark, set deep within an empty desert valley in West Azerbaijan. Its presence proves its function, a physical stone vault preserved by the overflow of global trade. During the Qajar era, Prince Abbas Mirza initiated a massive expansion of the cathedral, bringing imperial resources directly to the site's architecture. The foundational layer represents the original geometric sanctuary, defined by traditional Armenian Christian stone carving methods. The newer stones added during the imperial expansion show a distinct change. Integrated directly into the Christian imagery are lions and sun motifs, the specific visual markers of the Persian benefactors. This stone relief shows intricate floral scrolls and twisting columns, architectural signatures that root the cathedral firmly in the Iranian artistic tradition. This structural synthesis reveals how the northern monument developed within a broader Iranian cultural orbit that reached from these mountains all the way to the southern seas. Today, this 1,700-year-old structure is under constant attack by the Earth itself. Seismic activity frequently displaces the masonry, while a microclimate of intense freeze-thaw cycles causes the volcanic basalt and limestone to shatter. Beneath the surface, groundwater seepage pushes salt up into the foundations, threatening to rot the stone through efflorescence. To secure the site, Iranian experts installed carbon fiber reinforced polymer rods inside the masonry, creating an internal skeleton to hold the cracked walls together. They applied chemical water repellents to the exterior stone and dug perimeter drainage channels deep underground to intercept the rising groundwater. International heritage organizations maintain this site with the precision of a high-security vault, using continuous engineering to ensure the delicate carvings endure. Why go to such extreme scientific lengths to protect a building in such a remote location? Thousands of people return to these walls every year, making the sanctuary a living epicenter of global heritage. Every mid-July, this empty valley is overtaken by Armenian pilgrims from Iran and the global diaspora, who arrive for a 3-day encampment. This is the Badrakh gathering. Inside the cathedral, bishops lead liturgical chants, baptisms, and weddings, a spiritual tradition occupying this space for centuries. This history of religious protection led UNESCO to officially inscribe the Badrakh pilgrimage on the list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity in 2020. These treasures endure because they were built by global wealth, secured by modern engineering, and kept breathing by the people who return to them year after year.